Have you ever had problems understanding how to engage and basically try to put that content out there that people are really understanding who you are or what you're saying? Or it doesn't even make sense to put out there and just getting that visibility just for you and your brand? Have you ever had those kind of problems? I know I have. But guess what? I have a wonderful, wonderful expert that's going to be coming on. It's going to help us with that problem, right? We want a solution to problems. This particular expert is going to tell us, and we'll be right back to introduce him. And we're back. Yes, we have the wonderful, amazing, spectacular, yay, Steven Mesch. Yes, yes, yes. CEO of Mesh Media and Design. Oh my God, this is going to be wonderful conversation. So, how are you doing, Steven?
I am doing very well, Barbara. Thank you for asking, and thank you for having me on your show today.
Oh yes, yes, we have to have you. I mean, you're like the guru when it comes to media and the visibility, all that good stuff. And you do a lot of that to help out achieve get themselves out there. So this is good to find out who is the person behind that curtain. I was thinking about the Wizard of Oz, in the movie at the end where, Dorothy's there and they're trying to, get answers, and then the wizard they pulls that curtain and you found out who the real person is. Well, Steve is the real person here, and he's the one that's doing all those gadgets and Achieve to make sure Achieve is shining and the community's out there being visible. So I just really an honor to have you on the Achieve Experts Highlight Show to get to know you a little bit more and to get to know who like people that you work with, like clients that you want to help. So also, just to add, I got to add this. He's an alpha leader on top of everything else he's doing, on top of his own business with clients and everything. He said, okay, I'm going to sign up. I'm an alpha leader too of Achieve. So, okay, Steven, you're going to have to, yeah, you're going to have to help us out here to see all these hats that you do. It's like, oh my God, oh my God. But before you do that, sir, I want to ask you, I always like pulling the curtain and understanding like the reason why you do what you do. So can you just give us just a little bit background on what you became this amazing CEO of media?
Yeah, of course. So, I don't know. I've always had, I know it sounds maybe a little cliche, but a passion for helping people, a little bit of an altruistic streak.
Mm,
So, being able to help people share their unique expertise and genius just means that they're going to be able to help more people with what they do. And that really makes the world a better place at the end of the day. At least I believe.
yeah. I love how you said that because it kind of started out with me too, where I was, when I was even younger, I was really bullied a lot and everything. And a lot of people used to tell me that I wasn't going to be nothing, or I didn't have a voice, or just be quiet, sit in the corner, all that kind of stuff. And when I got older, I promised myself that I didn't want anybody else to feel like I felt when I was growing up, and that everybody has a gift in them. They have something in them that's so important and it needs to be seen. So what you just said, that's kind of vibing with me a lot because I was in that same predicament. That's why I do what I do here, because I want to make sure that I don't care what anybody said about you, Steven, you are amazing. That's what I always tell people. And they're like, oh my God, but here you go again. I said, I want to keep telling you that until it gets in your head to your heart. So yeah.
Yeah, sometimes we just need somebody to believe in us, whether it's mentor, a teacher, family, friends, even a client. I mean, I'm right there in the same place with you. I had a math teacher in eighth grade that told one of my friends that I was a waste of time. So, um, yeah, I feel that entirely, but
Yeah.
you
Yeah,
keep
that's
pushing through and you do your best.
mhm. And I like that. And you set up basically a platform as you did in your business to make sure people are, getting that visibility, what they need in their business, so people get to know who they are, not just, and doing it in the right manner. So I want you to talk a little bit about that when it comes to that, because I know all of us are trying to get out there. People talking about, I got to get my brand out there. I got to get myself. I know I got to engage, all that stuff. It's like a list of things in your head, right? Especially when you're business in your business. So I want to if you can walk us through a little bit that how you work with others in that capacity.
Yeah, of course. So the biggest thing is finding someone's authentic voice.
Mhm.
Because if there becomes this disconnect, whether just on social media or in their websites, in their email, text marketing, anything that they're doing, if there's a disconnect between what you're putting out there on the front end and when people are actually dealing with you on the back end on a personal level, whether they know it subconsciously or consciously, there's going to be kind of that red flag that comes up, and they're not going to want to do business with you for that reason,
Mhm.
unfortunately. So
Mhm.
that's the first step is finding out who you are in your unique voice.
I like that. I like the first step. Just to go a little bit on that, because I always tell people that we all have, going back to that special, I always say special gift, but like you said, on your terms, I love how you say too about your unique voice. What are you trying to bring out different than another person, or who you are is yourself being? So now I want to ask you, Stephen, being authentic, do you believe that's really important to be that point? Because some people have different sides of it. I believe in being authentic, but some people are like, oh no, I can't do all that. So what's your take on that when you're talking about the uniqueness?
Yeah, I think it's super important because whether you try and hide it or not, people are going to figure out eventually who you are, what you stand for, what you're all about. So if you have this facade over who you are as not only a business owner online, but as a person,
Mhm.
I think you're probably just setting yourself up for a lot more pain and trials and tribulations in the long run just because you're not living through your authenticity.
Yeah, yeah. Have you noticed, like, when you work with individuals, as far as like we're talking about the first step, the uniqueness is when you bring out that authenticity and that uniqueness, it builds a connection, right?
Well, it has to. I mean, at the end of the day, especially on social media these days, people get so burnt out of being sold all the time. And those are usually the companies that you see not really doing so hot, is the ones that are just sale after sale after sale or trying to get that. But when you can build up that audience and build that kind of trust with them, that carries on over into the real world too,
Mhm.
because you can broadcast who you are. You can meet somebody at a networking event, give them your digital business card, paper business card, if you still like to do things that way. And they could check you out on whatever platform that they like to live on,
Mhm.
essentially, and see that, oh, well, this person that I just met, they seemed great, or maybe they didn't seem great. Either way, you give them another place to connect with you. And if you're showing off who you genuinely are,
Yeah.
then that just builds that trust factor that we all need to actually make the sale and make the connection that drives business growth.
Yeah, I love how you said. I love how you put that, Stephen, because it is so important to build that trust. And I think nowadays it's a little bit. People got to understand it's different than it's not the norm than a long time ago. I think a lot of things, like you said, have changed. I mean, COVID hit. There's a lot of stuff. Now we're getting back into in person slash online slash wherever else that you can pop up in. And then you have so many different platforms that you can be on as far as visibility. So I wanted you to kind of take us through, like, when you are dealing with the client, how do you help them, like, navigate that? Because sometimes that can just be like, all over the place. Some people tell me, "Oh, just be on everything, Barbara." I'm like, "Oh boy," and they say that they be like, "Be on everything." I'm like, so what
Yeah,
do you think on that?
well, yeah, and then you have like 20 hours of work in the day to deal with. And in addition to actually running your business, helping clients, answering emails, all that fun stuff that a solopreneur or even somebody in the C-suite will have to still deal with.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the easiest way to do it, let's say you are just, I don't know, getting started, hobbyist, curious about getting into business, and you hear that advice of just be everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
I would certainly agree with that, but there's a pretty big caveat to that.
Mm-hmm.
And that is, well, first you need to find yourself a multi-posting kind of calendar system so
Mm-hmm.
that you don't need to do all this extra work
Manual.
manually, natively putting them into each platform.
Mm-hmm.
But what you can do while still being everywhere is tell people, because most of these platforms that allow you to schedule out to everywhere will
Mm-hmm.
allow you to customize for each of the different channels.
Mm-hmm.
So let's say you're I don't know, a small gift shop, right? Local business, and you've always done Instagram and
Mm-hmm.
you've done really well on it. And people are now saying, oh, well, you're missing out on all this business because you're not on LinkedIn and TikTok and Facebook and
Mm-hmm.
everywhere under the sun, which they are 100% right.
Mm-hmm.
What you need to do then is on those channels, tell people, hey, follow me over here on my Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
Come engage with me where I am most active. That way, you will get the best user experience as a customer or even just a fan. You want to make it always about your potential client or customer because
Mm-hmm.
that's the reason people buy. They buy because they like you and they buy because you're offering something of value to them.
Yes. Wow. That was like a mic drop. There was like a few mic drops, like push, 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 push. I love it. Oh my God. I'm sitting down, I'm trying, I'm like, okay, Barbara, you want to engage, but I want to take notes, Stephen. I was like, I have my little notebook here because you're teaching me. And I love how you said that if you're on one platform, mostly on one, but you're not getting a chance to get to the other ones too much, tell them to follow you on that particular one, particularly, the main one that you do. That's golden right there. Cause I never even thought of it like that. I'm always thinking, I got to get over here, get over here. Let me get the schedule. Like you said, get that schedule and stuff. And then if I feel like I missed something, I was like, I didn't get over on Facebook today. But I love how you said, just make sure that you keep, just moving them to that, to that big platform that you really are on. Like, say if you're a lot on LinkedIn, I'm just using an example, like you said, just move them over to that. Say, you know what, I get a lot of stuff over here if you want to hear more or whatever. Yeah,
And
that's
that's exactly it. So, like, of course, being in marketing, my clients are all B2B. So,
mm-hmm.
LinkedIn is where business owners are going to hang out.
Yeah.
And for business owners, if they don't have a strong LinkedIn presence, that's something that, even just somebody telling you, hey, come over here and follow me here.
Mm-hmm.
LinkedIn is then going to suggest all these other different profiles and pages
Okay.
that are related to the people you're already engaging with. So that's a way for you to build up those connections, build up your own audience just by somebody saying, hey, come over here and engage with me here.
I didn't even think about. I forgot that LinkedIn works that way. See,
They
so
all
that's, yeah. Oh, they all do.
pretty much, if you follow somebody, you will see stuff that is like that content. The algorithms are so smart these days. Like you'll see tons of hashtags. They
Mhm.
do serve a purpose, but it's so much smaller than it used to
Mhm.
be.
Yeah.
Algorithms driven by AI, they can look at your pictures and videos and your post copy that you're writing. So if you
And
click
just
the like button on something,
mhm.
even if you hover on something for 10 seconds, it catches your eye. If you've ever noticed that then you get more of that type of content, that's exactly why.
You know what? You just answered the question now that I was thinking about the other day because I was looking. Okay, I gotta be authentic here. I was looking to help my goddaughter with a cell phone, and I was gonna just do it basically for her birthday. And I was looking for different sales, different distributors and stuff. So I was clicking on them stuff. Next thing you know, I go on Facebook, all their ads. All of a sudden, I'm just seeing all of their ads from this two of the distributors. I'm like, How did they even know? Where did they? It just popped up like bing, 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 bing. So you just answered that question because I was trying to figure out where all of a sudden they just like whoosh. Yeah.
It's a little creepy to an extent, right? That
It's
they
like almost a
know.
stalking, like they're stalking you, like, okay, we see what you were doing over there. We're gonna just throw you a whole bunch of ads. It's like, oh boy.
Mhm.
Yeah. But that is I'm glad you I'm glad you cleared it up, Stephen, because first of all, I was like, okay, who's watching me? Who's doing this? Which we know, there's the big brother, big sister up there. But just so quickly though, like you said, so fast. So now, say in that example, the same thing can happen, like you said, when we do our sharing or when we're hovering, like you said, over people, how that pops up,
Mhm.
get that visibility.
Yeah, everything has a compounding effect when you're online, especially if you remember a few years ago when Apple updated their iOS and terms of service, all that thing, where you have the now option to ask if you want your data tracked across different platforms. So Apple is one of the most transparent about that kind of thing going on. But let's say you have a Google phone, that does it. Let's say you've got Android, that certainly does it too. There are ways to disable that kind of stuff.
Okay.
But regardless, it's such a, I guess, almost push and pull between how much you value your own privacy with like the private browsers that you can use versus how much you want content tailored to what you're actually going to find interesting and of value. Because that stuff does, I mean, the whole purpose, of course, on the platform side is to make money because they want people spending ad spend on them to actually get an ROI off of it.
Yeah.
But on the consumer side, they don't want to just give you ads for something you're never
Gonna be.
going to buy or want to deal with.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. So when they know that you're looking for some, they're like, "Oh, we know she wants that, so let's just throw some ads like they just did to me." And then I think about it now, taking that same concept, how that works, dealing with like your clients, like your B2Bs. Do you kind of go into that when you're kind of coaching them as a way of them getting seen out there more? Is kind of how that works with the whole what I got from from those different distributors.
So, when working with clients, of course, on the consumer side, you're going to have that kind of thing happen. There's no way to really direct what people are going to see other than realistically these days. I know people, everyone's heard this, but it's the keywords,
Mm,
right?
mm,
That's the biggest thing is your keywords matching what your image is, what your video is, and not having it just be a whole mess of keywords. Don't go to Chat GPT and say, make me a social media post and load it up with as many keywords as you can because
Mhm.
deranked immediately.
Mhm.
You want them to be active and
Yes.
also relevant. And
Yes.
that's the biggest thing is what you need to put out there needs to be relevant to your target audience.
Yes, I like. So, just example, because you're coaching me and you're coaching everybody that's listening to this interview. This is awesome. Just had to put that out there. That if I put like a keyword, because I deal, basically with video branding, TV branding, streaming, stuff like that. So if I put something like just visibility, would that be, because that's, to me, that's like just a main word for what we all do. Would that kind of catch on with my posting and what I do if I put those keywords in there, like that keyword in there?
So, visibility, like you said, it is a very broad keyword, and there's
Mhm.
nothing wrong with that. What you want to do is find a good mix of broad and narrow keywords,
Got
is what has essentially always worked the best, even
it.
back when hashtags were more of a thing.
Mhm.
So, for you specifically, I mean, visibility, broadcast,
Mhm.
TV. Um, I don't know what else you do other than interview people, but interviews, expertise. There are so many different things you could really put into a post as long as it flows naturally
Mhm.
and stays to the point.
To the point. I like
Mhm.
that. And thank you for those other keywords. That's going to really help out. Because I was just thinking of visibility and then maybe, well, interviewing, broadcast, like you said, because I do help a lot of people with the, main TV streaming and not just putting them on a streaming show, but also, I coach them. I do the production. I do the videos. I do all that. So now that you said to pull some of those other keywords out, this was good exercise, not just for me, but people that are listening, now they know what to pull out more so than those broad ones. And I'm glad you mentioned that, not just the broad ones. It sounds like.
Even ones adjacent to what you're doing can be great too. So that what that will do was it'll start pushing what you're doing to people that if they're super interested in doing TV, of
Mhm.
course they're gonna eventually run across what you do and what everyone else in your field does.
Mhm.
But if you could say, why do a podcast, which there are one of a trillion and a half out there these days? Why not come over to TV?
Mhm.
Since podcast is such a buzzword, you
Mhm.
just now essentially told the algorithm, oh, I'm talking about podcasts over here. Let's bring them over here now.
Okay. That's clever. That's a good way of doing it. See, that's why you're the CEO. You're the expert. I love it. I love it. So I want to ask you before God, see, time goes so fast. I love talking about this. That's why I'm like, oh, I could talk to you, Stephen, for a while, but I know I can't take too much of your time because you got so much going on. But I want to make sure that you do mention the fact of, first of all, what type of clients you work with, because everybody wants to know if they want to come to you, and then also just take a little journey on what the results would be once they work with you.
Yeah, of course. So I love working with coaches. Going back to what I said earlier, it really fulfills that kind of giving aspect of me. And then more on a hobbyist kind of side, I'm a big gearhead. So anything in the automotive space and a big music lover. So anything to do with any kind of music or production in that sense, which is actually how I got my start, believe it or not, was doing promotions for my band in high school.
Oh, see, look what that happened, where that came to. I love it. That's why I like those backstories, Stephen. I love it.
And what people can expect to get out of me is a presence online that they could really be proud of and happy with. I know a lot of people I've talked to in person are like, yeah, you can follow me here, but I don't really do anything with it. You can tell they're a little embarrassed. And in the modern age, if you don't have a social media presence, like it's something like 51% of Gen Z would rather look you up on social media than go to your website.
Mm. Mm.
So
Wow, that's
they're they're about like the oldest of them 25 these days. So they're starting to get some money and come into the market themselves in our huge generation. So if you're not in that space, you're going to be missing out on a ton.
yeah. I'm glad you brought up about the certain generations because each one, and I've been learning this more and more, Stephen, about far as from baby boomers on, like you said, Gen Z to Gen X to, I mean, it's just I'm still trying to remember in the order. I just found out the people that even before the baby boomers were, I think they're called silent. Yeah, and I was like, I wonder why they was silent. And somebody told, yeah, because they couldn't say nothing. That's where that old saying came, be seen and not heard. I said, oh, okay. So we came all the way from silent to now it's like you can't get anybody to be quiet. We're all just out there, right? But in order to maneuver through that, when you are working with your visibility, when you are working with your own media, I know that comes into play when you're working with different business owners, right? I was just going to ask how that works as well.
So it comes back to their unique voice, being able to put themselves out there in a way that they're comfortable with is probably the most important thing that I can do because I can have all these ideas
Mm-hmm.
and they'll say yes or no to them. Yeah, let's do
Mm-hmm.
more of that. Let's do less of this.
Mm-hmm.
But even more importantly than that, it doesn't matter what I think. It doesn't even matter what my clients think.
Mm-hmm.
It matters what my client's audience thinks. And we have to follow those trends.
Bingo. See that's a big mic drop, right? Another big mic drop. You're right. It's not you. I always say when I'm speaking, even on stages when I'm speaking, I'm like, it's not about Barbara. It's really not about the person that put me on stage. It's about all the people that I'm talking to out there. It's about them. So I love how you put that even in the media spectrum like that. It's so important to think like that, and then you know how to put, like you said, everything else out there to engage to put content. So it always starts, like you said, goes back to that particular thing and then moving forward in that. So I love it because I always tell people, and I'm just gonna put it out there. Some people are like, well, Barbara, I don't see you on TikTok, and I'd be like, I don't like TikTok. But you know what? Me being a visibility person, Stephen, I had to embrace it because I work with people and some of them just love it. And it's like, okay, I need to learn this. I don't have to like it, but I need to learn how it works and how it helps people with their visibility, right? So being that coach like that, I'm like, okay, Barbara, you gotta know, you gotta learn TikTok. Yeah, you might not like it, but yeah. So, but everybody has their specialties that they like platforms. So I love that. Love that. So I wanted before we oh, this has been awesome. I want to make sure you leave any other golden nugget for the audience. So, but I want to take myself down 30 seconds and I want you to have the floor and I'll come up and then we could tell them how they can contact you. Okay? I'll be right back.
Sounds great. So, with all the noise out there on social media, we've all seen it. We're getting pulled every direction, all hours of the day. Remember to use social media and all online tools consciously because the algorithm will pick up whatever it is you are interacting with, looking at, commenting on, sharing, saving. Protect your energy and use it as the tool it is because that's really all it is. Like any other new technology, social media, and anything online is just another tool that we can choose how we're going to use it.
Wow, I'm down here trying to write as fast as I can. Well, I love when you said protect your energy. Okay, Steven, you're gonna have to put some of Steven quotes out there. We got to make like a quotes by Steven or quotes by SM, or I don't know. You got to name them because you got a lot of good quotes that people need to know. I mean, that alone to me will go viral. Awesome, amazing. So thank you, Steven, so much for coming on Achieve Experts Highlight. We wanted to make sure we highlight you, sir. We wanted to make sure people knew who you are behind the scenes and in front of the scenes. You know, when it comes to Achieve, because he's, like I said, he's an alpha leader too. But we really was, nailing down what he does for people, for his clients, what he does for the world. And I always say that, when you take that on for the world, you are a lighthouse for others. So always remember to be that lighthouse for others, to help them in what they're trying to do, because believe me, that gets you right here in your heart. I mean, I know the money's there and that's wonderful. We want the money. I get that. But when you could sit there and change somebody's life and then give them a light bulb moment, that is more than money to me. And I know Steven does that for so many people. So Steven, can you let them know how they can contact you?
Yeah, reach out. Steve@meshmedia.com is my email. Meshmedia.com is my website. I'm pretty good at responding. If you want to book a call, I do 30-minute strategy sessions completely for free.
Oh, see. Okay, everybody. Now you heard that. He said it a little lightly, but I'm going to tell you already. Get that 30 minutes. I know people said, Barbara, you can't tell people what to do. I said, okay, I'm not going to tell them. I'm going to ask them nicely to take the 30-minute strategy call with Steven.
But do it.
See, he said it. I didn't do it. He said it this time. So I'm not getting in trouble. But Steven, it's been a pleasure and an honor for you being on the show. You are family here of Achieve Family, the community, and you are welcome anytime to come back on. Anytime.
I'm sure I will be. This was a blast.
Yes.
Thank you for having me.
No problem. We'll see you at the next Achieve Expert Highlight Show with another wonderful Achieve member and an alpha leader. Talk to you soon.
Introducing the Diamond Factor Network, where we turn your business into a beacon of success. Imagine having your TV streaming show reaching audiences far and wide. It's possible with the Diamond Factor Network. Unlock the power of your brand with our state-of-the-art TV streaming platform. Your show, your way. Feature highlights, customized shows, global reach, and professional support. Coaching by Barbara J. Beckley, Purpose Visibility and Social Media Strategist. Ready to elevate your brand? Join the Diamond Factor Network today and let your brilliance light up the world. Shine bright because your success is our priority.